Welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at Top Gun Options. Folks, coming to you from a beautiful Lake Tahoe. We had an absolute great time this weekend during our second ever Mastermind Top Gun Options live event. You can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Top Gun Options, and you can take a look at some of the pictures from this weekend. Just an absolute blast. Great Americans, great people, great Australians, as a matter of fact. We had folks from Hawaii, Australia, literally around the world at our Mastermind event here. Actually went down to Heavenly, down to South Lake Tahoe, and found the Blue Angel Cafe. That was a good time. Yeah, go to our Facebook page. Make sure you check out our pictures from the live event. And if you didn't get a chance to make it to this one, you have got to come to our next one. It'll probably be down there in South Florida, and we'll start planning for that soon. Folks, over the weekend, man, just absolute incredible stuff going on. Obviously, the tragedy in Texas. Folks, you can't legislate against evil. You can't legislate against mental illness, folks, and that horrific tragedy. It's just awful. And a good man with a gun stopped a bad man with a gun. So just horrific. But other than that, Ms. Lincoln, how was the play? I mean, Saudi Arabia, the future king, cracking down on princes and former ministers, and a couple of them actually died in a helicopter crash. Absolute craziness going on in Saudi Arabia, folks. Oil is at, 2-3 year highs right now. Because also in Saudi Arabia over the weekend, what happened? The Houthi rebels, say that 10 times fast, in Yemen, which are backed by who? Iran, fired a ballistic missile, or a missile at Riyadh. So Houthi rebels fired a missile at the capital of Saudi Arabia over the weekend, and they successfully engaged, I think it was a Patriot battery. They successfully shot down that missile, folks. Just when you take a deep breath and say, hey, we defeated ISIS and the Middle East is great, comes this absolute shit show. Saudi Arabia and Iran will go to war, folks. It's not a matter of if, but when. So the fact that the Saudi plunge protection team jumped into the market today is just absolutely nuts, folks. Keep an eye on the Middle East. I'd be getting long oil right now. We took a look at ExxonMobil a couple weeks ago. My members should be happy with that trade, along with our Tesla trade. We talked about that in our weekly options. We put on talked about a weekly bull put spread today in our weekly options live trade brief. The replay's posted, and that trade was sent out. Great trade, but take a look at our Tesla trade, man. Since we put that thing on, Tesla's down 1.5% today. Really liking that bear call spread that we placed last week on Tesla, right about there. But I digress. Trump's overseas, folks. This helps our Raytheon trade. Trump urges Japan to buy more U.S. military equipment. How's our Raytheon trade looking? A lot of folks in the chat box today saying, hey, Wiz, great Raytheon trade. Let's take a look at this 3-month chart. Raytheon implodes on earnings. We get in right there, and that's a good-looking trade right there. But that's also a long call diagonal. That's pretty far out in time. I digress. I'm getting way too tactical. Very happy with our tactical trades, by the way. But Trump's overseas. Looking forward to the pictures of him on the DMZ in South Korea with the binoculars, or giving the bird to cream of some young guy. So nothing's really going to break out now while he's overseas. He's still got to head to China. We're hopefully behind closed doors. He is going to poke him in the chest and say, "Hey man, go sit on your nephew there, because this is about to get ugly." But the Saudis today did call the missile attack a blatant act of aggression by Iran, and could be considered an act of war. So again, take a look at oil, folks. Iran wakes up one day and strings a bunch of mines across the Strait of Hormuz. Oil will be at $150, $300 a barrel in the blink of an eye. So maybe we'll talk about that in the primary live trade brief. To my members, I'm going to be hopping on an airplane, flying back from Reno tomorrow at the crack of dawn. So we're going to cancel the PLTB for tomorrow, and I'll move that to Friday. Accelerated retirement, normal time on Wednesday, and analyze your trade as well, normal time on Thursday. But stocks are kind of muted right now, folks. Obviously Disney and the 21st Century Fox discussion, the Broadcom or the Qualcomm merger, a lot of noise around the market. But here we go again, man. We're going to melt up in the absence of shooting war with North Korea. We're going to potentially melt up. I say potentially. Why? You ready? 75% of the market's gains in October, folks, were from the FANGs, man, tech stocks. Great returns on some of our trades as well in there, but it's been a very narrow rally, folks, and we've talked about the VIX closed at $9 9 times. First, Bueller's been absent 9 times. The VIX closed at $9.14 on Friday. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. And look at this, folks. You ready? You don't see this that often. And when you do, let me lay it on you. Market is up. VIX is up. Something's up. Write that down. Market up, VIX up, something's up. What's up? Well, the fact that there might be war in the Middle East, there might be war in North Korea, and also the fact that, where's the Bloomberg story? Why the next 4 days will be crucial for the GOP tax bill. Ladies and gentlemen, RINO, I can't stand this guy. He needs to go. Please, John, just leave. John McCain confirms tax reform is dead on arrival in the Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have 7 or 8 legislative days before the end of the year. Trump said he wants a tax reform bill before Christmas. The odds of that happening, I'm a zero delta, guys. There's no chance we are getting tax reform passed before the end of the year. Folks, I got to be honest with you. Every one of these pullbacks year to date, the Comey memo, the Don Trump Jr. committed treason by talking to a Russian about dirt on Hillary, which, of course, when Hillary does it, it's not treason. There's the fire and fury North Korea comments from Trump. There's the Steve Mnuchin and Gary Cohn need to resign because Trump's a racist, but they didn't. And then a rip-your-face-off rally. Every pullback year-to-date, folks, has been political. So if you think that Donald Trump is going to stand in the Rose Garden with Steve Mnuchin and say, huge tax reform, I tried, failed, didn't work, we'll get him next time. If you don't think that the market is looking for an excuse to have a 3 to 5% pullback, and it's a self-cleaning oven, folks, you're nuts. I'm telling you, if tax reform doesn't get passed, and Trump does have one of those press conferences, we see a 3 to 5% pullback. John, just go, okay? Just leave, man. You're a disgrace. Anchorman at the Naval Academy usually gets a minesweeper out of Alaska. Anchorman John McCain, when he graduated from the Naval Academy, the last guy, bottom of his class, got aviation. I wonder why. Bezos sells 1.1 billion with a B of Amazon stock at record highs last week. Why did he do that? Is he bearish on Amazon? Wiz, why'd you put a weekly bull put spread on Amazon if he did that? Folks, that was part of a scheduled sale, and he's using it to fund his, to infinity and beyond space program. Look at this chart on Amazon, folks. It doesn't get any better than this. Look at this. Rip your face off. Move on earnings, and it does a little bit of a head nod to maybe fill that gap. Not even close. That's not a head nod. That's a nervous tick. That's a little Tourette syndrome right here, and then up. This is a very bullish indication. Bull put spread on Amazon. I didn't get filled yet on that, guys. I think it actually ran away from me and is looking pretty profitable since we put it on this morning. S&P's up 21% since Trump's election. Who predicted that? You're looking at him, folks. Edward Matthew Wiz Buckley predicted not only is Trump going to win, market's going to rally 10, 15%. So technically I was wrong as of today because it went up 21%. It already passed the 10 to 15 that I already predicted. We'll talk about this later in the weeks, folks. Some of the FANG stocks, how Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, typical limousine liberal last week. Here, this dude has zero business experience when he goes, I don't care about profitability. We're just going to, do what's right or something like that. When he was talking about politics. Dude, your corporate attorneys, their faces probably melted off. You have a fiduciary duty to your shareholders to do what's in their best interest, not yours, and not in the Democratic Party. So we'll talk about this the rest of the week. Like I told you, I love how my Tesla bear call spread's starting to look pretty good. I'd sell the hell out of Tesla, maybe even a long put diagonal, and we'll talk about that later in the week. But anyway, guys, I got to run. Why? I'm going to go hiking, man. I stayed 2 extra days after our event got finished. Got a couple bottles of Camus sitting over there that might bring back home. But this has been awesome. It was great meeting the 25 or so members that came out here. Loved meeting you all in person. And make sure you keep an eye on the Facebook page because I'm going to be posting more pictures as I get them from other folks who took them throughout the week. Okay? So have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. And I'll see many of you Wednesday for Accelerator Retirement at 1 o'clock. We'll see you.